Well, hey everybody, John Ritlin here, and here is every WrestleMania WWE title match ranked from worst to best. Yes, I'm including the World title, Universal, and even the ECW title. I have 49 matches to cover, so I do want to take a moment to just say thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it, from a fellow wrestling fan to all the fellow wrestling fans and all the fellow YouTube content creators tuning in. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, 49 matches, and I've covered some of these before in my every WrestleMania main event, ranked from worst to best list. So do not worry if, some of these get skipped over. But I'm going to, give my brief thoughts, and I'll cover like a little bit on some of these that I, haven't talked about in other videos. So, number 49, Kane versus Chavo Guerrero for the ECW title at Mania 24. 8 goddamn seconds. It made Chavo look like a goof. Yeah, sure, Kane got the win. And yeah, Kane was ECW champion for a couple months. That's basically what they did. They basically made the ECW title not matter. This is the only ECW title defense at a WrestleMania. The only other time that the ECW champion actually got featured, they had Lashley versus Umaga the previous year. And stuff like that. Yeah, it wasn't a very good use for either guy. Even though it was a shocking moment, it just wasn't good. And number 48, Hogan versus Yokozuna for the WWE title at Mania 9. 22 seconds, killed Yoko's momentum, and even after the King of the Ring, where he beat Hogan again, it still took him a while to recover that momentum. Because Hogan pretty much killed the company for about a year. He did. Even though there were still some loyal fans, he kind of crippled the company for about a year. But yeah, I covered that one before. But Hogan winning the title, complete bullshit, and ruined what was left to ruin of WrestleMania 9. Number 47, Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus for the world title at Mania 28. Covered in my every WrestleMania opening match ranked from worst to best. And yeah, 18 seconds. There are a lot of short matches here to start off this. Not really the best use. Bryan deserved better. Sheamus deserved better. They honestly should have been given more time. I mean, yeah, shock factor, but it killed Sheamus as a babyface. He was not, he was just booed out of the goddamn building for most of the time. And feuded with Alberto Del Rio for about 18 goddamn months of his 6-month reign. Figured that math out. It felt that long. And Daniel Bryan was, kicked right back down the card after a match with Extreme Rules. Yes, he had a couple matches with Punk. But then he teamed with Kane in Team Hell No, and that was fine. It was funny. But Daniel Bryan should have been featured in the main event during that time, and he just wasn't, and it's unfortunate. But it was what it was. I will say this. He spun it into gold because he became champion in Mania 30. Don't worry, I'll get to that one later. Then we go to number 46, Sid versus Taker for the WWE title at Mania 13. Yeah, this should not have happened. And nothing against Taker. He won the title. Cool. I like Sid. Sid was champion. That was fine. This should have been Brett versus Shawn, the rematch. Granted, Brett versus Austin ended up being a terrific match and the best match on this show, easily. And actually, probably the best match of, I would say, Mania, between Mania 13 and 17. Because I can't think of another match that was better than that, in my personal opinion. But yeah, Sid versus Taker, not a very good match, and Brett interfering. Taker won, cool, okay. And then we get number 45, Hogan versus Bundy for the WWE title at Mania 2. It was a cage match, it was a limp match. It was okay, it wasn't great, it wasn't bad, but it was just basic. And Mania 2 was not really that good of a Mania, let's be perfectly honest. Hogan winning, cool, alright. There was a big blue steel cage, which was kind of an eyesore to watch, but it was what it was. Hogan won, continuing his title reign that had already been going on for about 2 years by this point. Number 44, Cena versus The Miz for the WWE title at Mania 27. They made it all about The Rock versus Cena, and Miz was made an afterthought, and even though Miz won, people don't remember that, and that's sad. Because Miz's lone WWE title run, and it's actually looking like that will be his only WWE title run. Yeah, I mean, I hope he wins it this year, but who knows? Yeah, they should have made Miz seem to matter a little more. Sure, he won, but whatever. And thank God he, recovered from that concussion, even though he doesn't remember anything about the match afterwards. Terrible. I've had concussions. They're not any fun, but credit to Miz for continuing that, even though he's on autopilot. But yeah, Miz won, and then Miz got laid out by Rock afterwards. And Rock stood tall because part-timers are fun. Number 43, Bray versus Orton for the WWE title at Mania 33. Why didn't Bray win? This was dumb. This was so dumb. The maggots being projected on the ring canvas and that kind of stuff and whatever. And this match should have been way better, and it was so bad and so mundane, and Orton won and no one cared. And he dropped it to Jinder Mahal afterward, beginning one of the worst WWE title reigns ever. You guys can like Jinder if you want, I don't really care, but back to this match. Bray was treated like a joke. It was so fucking bad. It really was. Bray had been champion for less than 2 months, then lost it here, and never has had a rematch since that I can think of. Please let me know in the comments if Bray has had a rematch for the WWE title. Because I don't believe he did. He went to Raw and he hadn't even had a sniff of the Universal title. Then again, it's hard to have that when Brock's not around. But then we go to number 42, Luger versus Yokozuna for the WWE title, easy for me to say, at Mania 10. And yeah, this was Luger's attempt to dethrone Yokozuna. And he couldn't do it because of shady refereeing and interference and the fact that Luger wasn't any goddamn good and never deserved to be in the main event. Fucking Christ. This was bad. This was... It didn't help that the crowd was already turning against Luger. I mean, granted, Vince not having Luger win at SummerSlam 93 did not help. I did a fantasy booking of the WWE title picture from 93 into 94, including giving Luger the title as much as I hate Luger, so I found a way to do that. But yeah, this was bad, and Luger not winning was good because then Brett won later. But now, speaking of Brett and Yoko, we have them for the WWE title at Mania 9 at number 41, and yeah, they cut a lot of this match because Yoko got tired, but also because of time constraints, and Yoko beat Brett. Fuji threw salt in the eyes of Brett while Yoko was in the sharpshooter, and then, Yoko pinned Brett, and then Hogan came out and ruined everything. Yoko could have closed as champion. That would have actually been good. He could have held the title for a year. Nope, instead he's holding the title for about 9.5 months, 10 months, 9.5 months, and it took a while for that momentum to come back. Now we get number 40. Triple H versus Booker T for the world title at Mania 19. Someone like you should never be champion. People like you are here to make people like me laugh. These were things that were said by Triple H to Booker T in 2003. Apparently, Triple H decided to channel Bill Watts in late 92 in WCW. Good job. Yeah, that wasn't very good. And had Booker won, this probably would have been ranked about halfway up the card, or up the list. But it wasn't. They did not do the thing. Booker lost. Terrible. Fucking terrible. I mean, and it was a good match at times, but just Booker not winning. Triple H taking 21 to 25 goddamn seconds after hitting the pedigree to cover, and Booker didn't even kick out. And Triple H got the minimalist amount of cover on him, like his hand or his fingers. 1, 2, 3. It buried Booker T terribly. Even his world title run in 06 wasn't all that good. Because he was essentially seen as a goddamn joke. And then number 39, Reigns versus Triple H for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Mania 32. 27 pissing minutes. It didn't need to be that long. It was not very good. Reigns winning. They turned the house mics down because people were booing Reigns. And all the best, honestly, to Roman Reigns, the man recovering from leukemia. Hopefully he beats it and can live a healthy life even if he doesn't get back in the ring. But this match about the two characters was not interesting and was not... Mania 32 already went on for about 2 goddamn years. It was not good. It was not good. Reigns winning, okay, we knew it was going to happen, but it didn't matter because the crowd didn't give a shit. And then, they gave a shit in the sense they were shitting on the whole thing. Number 38. Brock versus Goldberg for the Universal title at Mania 33. Yes, it was better than their Mania 20 match. Not by much. They sort of gave a shit. And they hit some impactful moves. It was like their greatest hits and everything, and it was over in 5 minutes. And Brock won. And then the Universal title was barely seen on TV for the rest of the year. Except for like 2, 3 matches. I think 3 matches, actually. Great Balls of Fire, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Yeah, 3 matches. Good job there, Vince. That's a great way to build morale among your Raw roster. But yeah, it wasn't very good. Wasn't bad. It was at least better than their Mania 20 match. Number 37, Swagger versus Del Rio for the world title at Mania 29. Had Swagger not gotten busted for driving under the influence, or driving while intoxicated, driving under the influence. The DUI was weed. It was weed. That's what it was. And had that not happened, he might have beaten Del Rio here. Sure, we would have not gotten the awesome cash-in the next night, or we might have, who knows. But it was, yeah, It wasn't a bad match, but nobody really wanted to cheer Del Rio. He was not really that over as a babyface. He would go back to heel very soon. Him and Ziggler would do a double turn at Payback. It just, it was not very good. World title was never really featured all that well at Mania. It was always featured like a secondary title. Almost like Vince wanted to remind everybody that the world title was less than the WWE title because WWE beat WCW in the Monday Night Wars. But Vince would never do that, like with Sting and Triple H. Oh, wait, he did do that. But then we get to number 36, Cena versus JBL for the WWE title at Mania 21. Cena won. It was kind of a limp match, though. Cena did eventually beat JBL, but JBL beat him down for like 80% of the goddamn match, and it was just pointless. I mean, yeah, he won, celebrated in the crowd, that was cool. But of the two matches of WrestleMania 21, this was the lesser one. Now, it was great to see Cena won, and it was great to see JBL lose, because it's always great to see JBL lose, because the guy's fucking atrocious. But, yeah, it was kind of a limp match. Number 35, Brock versus Reigns for the Universal title at Mania 34. No one gave a shit about this match. No one was going to give it a chance. I didn't give it a chance. Most people on Twitter didn't give it a chance. Yeah, I'm not saying the guys didn't try. They tried to do some cool shit and everything. A bunch of F5s and a bunch of big moves. But the crowd just didn't care. They were shitting on it because, quite frankly, they were tired. They're tired of both guys. Tired of Reigns, tired of Lesnar. And yeah, even though Reigns got cut open, there were probably people that felt he should have bled out in the goddamn ring. And those people are wrong, by the way. Don't be wishing that kind of shit on a wrestler. Come on. Yeah, I mean, unless it's revealed they are actual pieces of shit and you want to do that. Roman Reigns is a family man that was just casting a role that I maybe didn't care for the character, but come on, guys. And also his cancer isn't a work. If you think his cancer is a work, you're goddamn idiots because WWE would go out of business if they did that kind of thing, being a publicly traded company. So, I digress. We get back to Brock versus Reigns. Yeah, Brock won, and that was the biggest shock of it. That might actually be why it's ranked this low, because that Reigns won, I might have ranked it 5 spots higher, because at least this storyline would have been over. But it wasn't. Edge versus Del Rio for the world title at Mania 27. Yeah, it was pedestrian. It was well done, and Edge got to win the world title and go out as champion. That was great. But then him and Christian destroyed that Rolls Royce, and it was such a beautiful, Rolls Royce or whatever the fuck it was a beautiful car out there. And they destroyed it. And I hated that. And I'm not even much of a car person, but that was a beautiful car. Anyway, but yeah, Edge won. It was a good match for what it was, but it kind of killed off Del Rio's momentum because he won the Royal Rumble, and then that was it. And it really didn't do anything until he won Money in the Bank, and then he cashed that in, and then beat Punk for a month, lost the title, won it back in a couple weeks. Really didn't have very good title reigns. He didn't. I think his longest title reign was like 3 months. 3 months as world champion. But anyway, here we go with Triple H versus Orton for the WWE title at Mania 25. So these two are in a blood feud, and all we have to do is have them have a match with no DQs where they beat the shit out of each other. Oh, Triple H, by the way, Shawn and Taker just stole the show, and your match will have you get DQ'd and lose the title if that happens. So you get DQ'd, you lose the title. So thanks, you took all the steam out of that. Yeah, they hit their finishers right at the bat to pop the crowd. They tried for some weapon usage when the referee was down or distracted or whatever. This should have been Orton getting the shit beat out of him, and then he could have won the title like the next month. But they did not do that. Triple H won, great, but the crowd didn't care because putting a no DQ stipulation on it would have been a lot better, and they didn't do that, and it was bad. Then we go to number 32, Cena versus Edge versus Big Show for the world title at Mania 25. Besides Cena doing all the clones, doing this, and picking up Big Show and Edge in a feat of strength. Basic match. Cena won, LOL. And there you go. Not a bad match, just not a great match. It was just pedestrian. Number 31, Cena versus Rock for the WWE title at Mania 29. It should have had Punk in it. Anything to make it interesting. We did not need twice in a lifetime. We didn't. Cena did not need to get his win back. Losing to The Rock was not going to matter. It was not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. The Rock certainly didn't need to be WWE champion at this point. It was not good. It just wasn't. And Rock got injured at this point. I mean, maybe that's why the match wasn't that good. But Rock powered through it. Cena helped carry him. He did. I will say that much. But yeah, it wasn't a very good match. So now we move on to number 30, Edge versus Jericho for the world title at Mania 26. Never got out of second gear. Unfortunate, because these two tended to have, some pretty good matches. They had better matches, I think, in like 2002 and 2002. I think it was like Edge and Jericho had a good cage match on SmackDown. But anyway, yeah, both were, had more miles on them and stuff like that. It didn't work. Something didn't click. There was a cool post-match thing after the Code Breaker, with the title and stuff like that, which probably should have hurt Jericho's knee. But also, Edge spearing him through the barricade was kind of cool. So at least we had that. But yeah, Edge lost, and then Jericho got cashed in on by Jack Swagger 2 days later. Number 29, Triple H versus Jericho for the WWE Undisputed title at Mania 18. Very flat main event. It was more about Triple H and Stephanie, and less about Jericho. Jericho and The Miz have a lot in common, being in main events of WrestleMania. It's a shame. Yeah, Stephanie got pedigreed. Triple H pedigreed Jericho, won the title, held it for a month, and dropped it to Hulk Hogan at Backlash. And a really messy finish. Good job. Number 28, Styles versus Nakamura for the WWE title at Mania 34. I hate putting this match so low, but it was basic. I hated how basic this was. This is almost halfway through the list. I mean, it's close. But had this match just been a little bit better, had they allowed them to go out and be a little bit better, and do a little more, it might have worked. They didn't do that. And yeah, Styles won. Okay, I would have rather had Nakamura win. But then Nakamura, hits him in the balls and then does a Kinshasa outside and never wins the title. So yeah, okay, maybe I'm basing this on the fallout of it, but this match was not very good. It should have been so much better. And it had flashes of brilliance, but it just wasn't that good. And that's unfortunate because I was looking so forward to this. Number 27, Diesel versus Shawn for the WWE title at Mania 11. One should have main evented. Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow shouldn't have. All due respect to Bam Bam. All disrespect to Lawrence Taylor, who did what he could, but title should have been in the main event. First time the title was not in the main, or the champion was not featured in the main event, ever. First time in Mania. And yeah, Shawn took a really, really bad, bump with the jackknife. Terrible finish because he wanted to show up Diesel and sandbag and stuff like that. That's what he wanted to do because Shawn was a petulant fucking child and probably still is. But it was what it was, and Diesel won. And that pretty much killed his push, even though he was champion for a number of months after that. Yeah, that wasn't a very good showing. And then we go to Rock, Triple H, and Big Show, and Foley for the WWE title at Mania 2000, a.k.a. Mania 16. That is in the 26th spot. Had it been Rock and Triple H, it would have been better. Throw Big Show in there if you want. Maybe make it a triple threat. Foley wasn't needed. Talked about this one. The McMahon every corner. It was too bogged down, too overbooked and everything. No need for it. And Triple H winning, hey, it was cool to have a heel champion close, but it was not very good. It just wasn't very good. And sorry, I'm not going to hear otherwise. Once it got down to Rock and Triple H, it was fine. Number 25, Triple H versus Cena versus Orton for the WWE title at Mania 24. And yes, this is when the power had gone out. So they were doing some cool stuff and everything and trying to make it work. And you had spotlights and stuff like that, and they got the power back on. That's why you don't do outdoor stuff, outdoor shows in Florida in April. Just a thought. I mean, nothing against Florida, except for all the weird people that live down there, doing all the stuff that always makes the news. But there are plenty of cool people in Florida I talked to. But anyway, I digress. Good match. Orton winning was cool. Getting the punt kick and pinning Cena. And Cena not getting the victory like I thought he might. That was good. And I enjoyed that. And yeah, okay, the Triple H would beat him for the title like a month later, and then Orton would get injured and, have the collarbone injury or shoulder, I think it was a collarbone injury, and be out for a good while. But hey, at least we had that, and at least it was a different finish than we expected. Number 23, or 24 rather, Reigns versus Brock with Seth Rollins jumping in for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It wasn't for the Universal title because that wasn't invented yet. This was at Mania 31. Brock and Reigns did have a better match than I expected them to. Had Rollins not been in here, this would have been barely slotted above what they did with the Universal title. Rollins helped save this match. It was a big moment. The crowd did not want to see Reigns win, and we all knew Reigns was going to win. But then Rollins showed up and cashed in, and great. It was great stuff. This is exactly what they should have been doing. It was fantastic. And Rollins closing that show, holding the title, that's what it was all about. Number 23, Ray versus Angle versus Orton for the world title at Mania 22. This match was given barely 10 minutes. They should have cut one match and just given that time. Cut one of the shorter matches and give that time to this. It's the world title and it was Ray's big moment and they made it feel like a popcorn fart. And that's unfortunate because Ray did not deserve that shit. Ray deserved way better than that. And even though I wasn't a fan of Ray being world champion, they did not make it feel like such a big moment when it was a great match for what it was, but it could have been legendary had they given it some more time. Number 22, Brett versus Yokozuna for the WWE title. I cannot say WWE today. At Mania 10. Better than their Mania 9 match. Brett won. Good stuff. Covered it before. Brett having that showing. Or, being hoisted up as the new guy and Randy Savage applauding him, staying on the turnbuckle. Fans are pointing at Savage. Savage is like, nope, him. It's all about him. And that was good stuff. Then Savage will even go to WCW later. But yeah, it was better than their Mania 9 match. Number 21, Hogan versus Slaughter at Mania 7 for the WWE title. Despite the fact that the whole Iraqi war thing, Desert Storm, and the uncomfortable nature of this, it was a good match with some good action, and Slaughter getting his ass kicked was pretty nice. Slaughter didn't really wrestle full-time much after this because he was pretty much out of the business soon after. I think he worked some USWA matches as well, like sometime after this. But yeah, it was what it was, and I mean, Hogan won, but it was at least now we're getting into better matches here. Number 20, Hogan versus Andre for the WWE title at Mania 3. Yeah, you may hate that I ranked it this low, but guess what? The spectacle of these two facing off and the slam was great. The rest of it, I'm sorry, it was hard to watch. It was really hard to watch. Hogan gained the victory. Slamming Andre, hitting the leg drop was great. Andre put him over, but yes, this is what some people think of when they think of main event and stuff for the WWE title, but it was difficult to watch. It was. Knowing the backstory and stuff like that, but just seeing Andre in that much pain. Hell of a spectacle, though. I will say that much. Not a technical masterpiece, but nobody expected it to be. Number 19, Ted DiBiase versus Savage for the WWE title at Mania 4. Was supposed to be Savage's crowning moment, and Hogan interfered. Yes, Hogan stopped Andre from interfering, but then he whacked Ted DiBiase with the chair. Savage hit the elbow drop, and Hogan took his goddamn spotlight. Savage could have been the champion for 2 to 3 years if Hogan hadn't done that. But nope, they didn't do that. I will cover that match they had at the following Mania a bit later. It was good for what it was, especially considering Savage had wrestled multiple times, and so had Ted DiBiase. But Hogan taking the spotlight bothered me. Number 18, Punk versus Jericho for the WWE title at Mania 28. Second match from the top. Good stuff, even with a couple botches because like slipping off the ropes and stuff like that. Still a really good match. They would have a better match at Extreme Rules a bit later. Enjoyable. And, Punk at least getting this victory here. At least it was nice. He should have been in the WWE match. The title match at least. The next Mania, but was what it was. At least he got this. It was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable match. It was very enjoyable. And Jericho really was helping establish Punk as the guy. Even though Punk had been champion for a number of months, Jericho putting him over in those two matches did certainly help. And then we get 17, Eddie versus Angle for the WWE title at Mania 20. And yes, I feel bad that this was Eddie's solo match at WrestleMania. Or solo WWE title match. I wish he had lived long enough to win the world title or something. But him and Angle had a good match. Enjoyable. Eddie having to cheat because he had his ankle injured and, taking off his boot, and then Angle going for the ankle lock, being shocked, getting rolled up, and Eddie putting his feet around the ropes in the small package, the inside cradle, whatever you call it. That was fun. And him and Angle had a better match at SummerSlam, but still, this was good stuff. And then we go to number 16, Rock versus Austin for the WWE title at Mania 15. I've said WWE a lot during this. But this was good, knowing the backstory and the stuff Austin was going through. Him and Rock did have a really good match, though. The least of their matches at WrestleMania, but still a very good match. A well-wrestled one, and even with all the bullshit, interference, and all that stuff, you still had Austin get the victory. So 2 Manias in a row, he won the title. Number 15, Batista versus Cena for the WWE title at Mania 26. Great stuff. Not as good as their SummerSlam 08 match, like about a year and a half before. But still good for what it was. Well, nearly a year and a half, about 2 years before. It was good. Batista point. I would have rather had Batista win than Cena fight from underneath to beat him at Extreme Rules. But yeah, Batista got one little run with the title and that was it. And then Cena beat him here and then in 2 other pay-per-view matches. And then Batista quit the company for about 4 years. I don't blame him, given what they were doing with him. But still, good stuff. And Cena and Batista did cut a good pace here. And it was a pretty good match for Mania 26. Often forgotten about pretty good Mania despite some bullshit. Number 14, Shawn versus Austin for the WWE title at Mania 14. Despite Shawn's back injury, legit or not, who knows. And Shawn clearly being hurt. He was hurt somehow, or just really good at selling. Austin, the whole Austin Tyson Shawn thing was great. Austin ended up getting the victory. And Austin, draped the shirt. Him and Tyson draped the Austin 316 shirt over Shawn. Austin celebrated. Good stuff. And the Austin era had begun. And it wasn't great, but it was good for the spectacle. Number 13, Daniel versus Batista versus Orton for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Mania 30. When Daniel Bryan was in the ring doing some great stuff, the crowd loved it. When Batista and Orton weren't doing it, they were not having it. They wanted to see Daniel Bryan win. We all wanted to see Daniel Bryan win. And he won. It was great stuff. Daniel Bryan gained the victory. Was the right call. Absolutely 100%. And that electricity, him bringing the crowd back after Undertaker had his streak broken earlier in the night, is something very few people could do. And him getting to celebrate in like 70,000 plus people just chanting yes. Everybody at home chanting yes. It was it was the right call. Something I'm always going to remember. And then number 12, Batista versus Triple H for the world title at Mania 21. Batista winning was absolutely what was needed. Batista getting, being able to win this, despite the fact that he did not even feel his leg, couldn't feel his right leg because of nerve damage. Hey, he got the victory, and oh my God, this was so fucking wonderful. And Batista beating Triple H here, and in 2 other pay-per-views after this, Batista was established as a monster, as the animal, and what a way to do it. I pick on Triple H for not putting some people over, but he put him over here. He put over Batista strong. Number 11. Taker versus Batista for the world title at Mania 23. Should have been higher up on the card. Great match, though. These guys cut such a great pace. Great power moves. All this stuff. Taker getting the victory. Holding the world title aloft 10 years after he won the WWE title. Was great stuff. And Batista and him really did work a good goddamn match. Batista had some of his best matches with Undertaker. I would say that might be Batista's best feud, besides maybe the one with Triple H. I would say actually his feud with Taker might just be a little better. Maybe. Let me know in the comments what you think. Number 10, Cena versus Triple H for the WWE title at Mania 22. Cena made Triple H tap out. 2 out of 3 WrestleManias where Triple H tapped out. Pretty good stuff. And the Chicago crowd was in such shock. But it was enjoyable. And Cena having a certain Chicago-made punk there, or a certain chick magnet there as a mobster, heading on a car, into the arena, was pretty funny. I don't know why that was funny, but it was. But yeah, Cena gained the victory was great stuff. And that Chicago crowd being so shocked, myself included, remember ordering this pay-per-view being shocked. Boy, those were the days ordering pay-per-views. Except, now with the WWE Network, you don't have to order pay-per-views. Good old undisclosed price and everything. But we get to Hogan and Warrior for the WWE title at Mania 6 in our number 9 slot. And yeah, sure, Hogan kicking out and everything and doing all, kicking out 3 1/8 and not really putting Warrior over all that well, making it all about himself as he left. Okay. Because Warrior wasn't, necessarily seen as the star. It was Hogan as the star. Hey, I don't like either of these guys, especially Warrior. And you know why. He's a piece of shit, and he was a homophobe and a moron. And wish death on Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan, who had more class in his little pinky than Warrior had in his entire body. Hey, at least Warrior won here. And it was a hell of a main event. These 2 Titans clashing. It was the definition of a main event. It really was. Number 8. Brock versus Angle for the WWE title at Mania 19. Brock nearly dying on the shooting star press. Angle somehow not dying despite needing massive neck surgery. Hey, it was a great match and it was in Seattle and, yeah, do I wish I would have seen this live? Sure, but, I don't have a time machine that you guys need to know about. Don't reveal my secret. I say that on camera. I don't actually have a time machine. I wouldn't even know how to build one. I would know how to get rid of the movie The Time Machine, the 2002 version. If you haven't seen that, good. Don't. But this was a good match, though. Brock winning, not having a clue where he was, but all the suplexes, all the stuff, the great submission wrestling. I really enjoyed this one. One of the best WrestleManias ever. I would say 19's number 2 or number 3. I ranked it number 2, just behind 17. But then we get Savage versus Flair for the WWE title at Mania 8. And let's be perfectly honest about this. Should have been the main event. Should have absolutely been the main event. The fact that it wasn't was atrocious. Sid versus Hogan was. You can hear what I think about that in the main event video if you'd like. But this was good. Really, really good. Blood feud. Flair bleeding and getting fined because of the no blade policy. But Savage going after Flair for what he said about Elizabeth. And even holding the tights to get the victory. It was really weird, but perfect interfering and stuff like that. And then later in the match, or later in the night, Bobby Heenan talking about, after he went back and talked to Flair. And Gorilla Monsoon talking to him and everything and saying, well, or Bobby Heenan, we're gonna get back at Savage. We're gonna win the title or whatever. And Monsoon, how many people will, there be in the ring, when you face off against Savage? Mr. Perfect was in the ring as long as Ric Flair. He's like, I'm a broadcast journalist. You're a liar. It's like, he just kept doing the you're a liar thing. Oh God, I miss Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon on commentary. I'm not saying they would have been doing commentary now, but oh my God. They were so great. But this was a great match. I just wish it would have been the main event. Savage winning was so awesome. Second title reign in his career. Number 6, Taker versus Edge for the world title at Mania 24. So good. And Edge coming so close to winning the match and breaking the streak. But he didn't do that. He got caught in the Hell's Gate and he tapped out. As he should have. Taker beating Edge, though, was the right call. Taker holding the title for, at the world title at another WrestleMania was 100% what they should have done. And it was just really, really good stuff and a very, very underappreciated WrestleMania main event as far as I'm concerned. I would do an underappreciated WrestleMania main events list, but I'm not sure that would necessarily pop. I don't know if people would appreciate that. Let me know in the comments if you want to, and then maybe I'll think about it. Number 5, Savage versus Hogan for the WWE title at Mania 5. This should have been Savage winning and holding it until SummerSlam and then losing it. He should have held it for a little bit longer. And he didn't, because Hogan had to have his fucking ego stroked. Probably by Vince, probably by somebody else. I don't fucking know. But Hogan should have not won here. It should have been Savage. I get why they did it. Yes, you need to have a babyface win, but it just, if Savage had won, it would have been so much better. Savage gained the victory was so needed. They didn't do that. But Savage still gave Hogan one of his best matches of his career. Shocking, because Savage is a much better worker than Hogan could ever hope to be. But now we get to the top 4. Cena versus Shawn for the WWE title at Mania 23. Great stuff. Should have been Cena versus Triple H, or was supposed to be, but Triple H got injured, tearing his quad. Nash takes his hat off to you for tearing the quads. So Vince tore both his quads at the same time. He's like, God damn it, I can do anything better than you can do, Nash. Cannot do a Vince impression at all. I would like to apologize for that, but I don't really apologize for much of anything. Back to Cena and Shawn. Great match and great stuff. Cena gained the victory. Really, what else can you say? It was just, it was really good stuff. I'm not even a Cena fan, but it was good stuff. They would have a better match on the Raw right before Backlash the following month in London, that 57-minute beauty. 58 minutes. It's just great stuff. I encourage you guys to watch that. There's a time investment, but let's face it, we're not all going to go out there and, cure world diseases. So let's watch some wrestling. But there we go with Cena and Shawn from Mania 23 at number 4. And then we get to Benoit, Triple H, and Shawn for the world title at Mania 20. Talked about it at length. Not going to talk about what happened with Benoit afterwards. But Benoit winning and holding the title off and getting to hug one of his best friends, Eddie Guerrero, and them holding championships at the end of that Mania was such an iconic moment. I did a video about that, about their respective title reigns, and you guys can check that out if you'd like. I really did enjoy doing that one. But this was such a great match, though. One of the best triple threat matches in WWE history. And Benoit winning was great. Even with Fallout and stuff like that, you can't take away from the fact how great this one was. Number 2, Bret versus Shawn for the WWE title at Mania 12. Iron Man match. Divisive. Some people don't understand why I like this match a lot. I like long matches when they're done well. Don't try to change me. You guys can like short matches if you want. That's fine. But this was such a tremendous match, and no falls in the entire 60 minutes, and then overtime, and then Shawn beating Bret. And it was just so good. It was so good. So goddamn good. Oh, I need to go watch it now, but I don't have an hour before I gotta be somewhere, so I'll have to watch it at some point. But I will probably be, if you guys want to pay attention on Twitter, like over the next 4 weeks, I'll be trying to watch random WrestleMania matches, and you guys can join in if you'd like and share jokes and all that. But Bret versus Shawn was such a fucking tremendous match. I goddamn loved it. I get why some people may not like it, but I did. And number 1, Austin versus Rock for the WWE title at Mania 17. Yeah, Austin's heel turn was divisive. It may have not been the boyhood dream coming true like Shawn Michaels had at the Mania I just mentioned, but the heel turn certainly got a lot of attention, and my God, did Vince and Austin create such a big moment. Now, it wasn't a moment I particularly enjoyed, but Vince causing, Austin just snap, beating the shit out of The Rock, Austin doing anything, and by God, I mean anything, to get that title. Yep, this is exactly what he should have done, and it was, in my opinion, the best WWE title match at a WrestleMania in history. But that's my opinion. I want to know what your guys' opinions are. Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I will see you soon.